Welcome back to the Shacknews E3 2017 booth here in West Hall in the shadows of the Nintendo booth. It's day 3. We're tired. Our feet hurt. We have two very special guests. Paul Bettner, Ben Hurd from Dan Hurd.
We're tired.
I was thinking Ben Hur for some reason.
We've got Ben Hur in the booth.
Ben Hur. We're gonna do some chariot races here in a second. No, we're here. You guys are here from Playful to talk about Lucky's Tale, a game that was once upon a time a VR exclusive that has been liberated and is now coming to the Xbox One X, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One, and maybe even Windows.
Yeah, Windows
All of the
SDK,
Xboxes.
Oh yeah, so
PC
I guess-
Master Race.
I guess you get- I don't know. Do you want to? Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Sure.
we'll do that, and then. So yeah, let's talk about the adaptation from VR to Xbox One. How long have you guys been working on this?
So Lucky's Tale 1 actually just shipped about a year ago, right? I think it was April of last year that we shipped it. So we started work on this game then, and we're shipping this game. Super Lucky's Tale ships on November 7th, so it'll be about an 18-month development, something like that.
And it's an adorable platformer,
Yes, it is.
right? Lucky was already beloved when he was in VR. Now, like, I think a much broader market's going to get to
That's the
experience
idea.
it.
We wanted to really share these adventures with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And is this a different game, or did you add anything from
This
the?
is a full-on sequel.
Totally sequel.
Full-on
It's a great question because we do want to clear that up. It's a brand new game.
Yeah, I think there was some confusion on the show floor, and even during the press conference, like, did they just reskin Lucky's Tale? And even when I played through it, I'm like, I don't think I remember playing that that giant rock man.
Yes, the Golem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't remember that level specifically.
No, this is a completely new game, all new levels, all new moves for Lucky. He has a signature move that probably saw that burrow where he can dive into the ground. That's actually my favorite part of the game because it's like, I don't know, I love platformers when they have that that rhythm to them, and you get this move that's even better than running and you just want to do it all the time.
Sure.
And that's how burrow feels. It's really good.
So clearly the art style is influenced by some platforms of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Can you guys talk about some of your influences? Like, what are some of your favorite platformers?
I mean, the list goes on, but when we were growing up, we played a host of these types of games, and Paul's mentioned this before, but we have this experience that we're trying to share here, which is I get my new console, I get my new shiny thing, and I open it up, and the first thing I want to do is get lost in some fantasy, adventure game, some sort of mascot adventure game, right? And so our influences are all over the place. Like we have, we love Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, Crash Bandicoot.
The rare games are a huge thing. Like you see in this demo, there's a lot of character interaction moments.
Yes.
And when you play the demo, like, you run into these characters and they're telling you a story and they have dialogue, which is kind of draws from those rare games of the old rare games where, you're running around collecting coins, but you're also meeting these characters in all the corners of the world and they're sending you on these little quests.
Right.
I had a theory about this because when we were watching the press conference, we did a live reaction stream, and I was like, is that Conker?
I know.
I was like, no. What if Lucky was just Conker before he had his bad fur day?
That's a good theory, I guess, but not true.
Yeah.
It seems like he stays away from the sauce. It's much more family friendly.
That's right.
But no, at first,
But actually, I love that you brought up Conker because I'm sure you guys played Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's one of my favorite games. Very few people, platformer players, actually played that game. I think it wasn't hugely popular, right? But now there's a lot of people that love that game. The thing that I loved about that title, besides, I guess, all the swearing and the drinking, whatever, not that.
That
But
booth at E3 was out of control too.
I don't even remember
Nintendo
that.
had a bar on the show floor
Wow.
for Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Well,
It was bad news.
So what I was gonna say, the thing I loved about that game is each level was like a different kind of adventure. So technically it was a platform, you were collecting things, but like there was like storming the beach in Normandy, and then there was traditional platforming levels. That's actually a big inspiration for us for Super Lucky's Tale. We want this like a lot of diversity in the different levels. So of course, you're gonna get traditional platforming levels, but players are also gonna like do these crazy mini games and other types of levels that they're totally not expecting.
We say like this genre is just the perfect wrapper for all this stuff, right? Like I want to play a mini game. As we even show on right now in our demo, you can run, collect, find secrets, have combat, solve puzzles. It's all encapsulated And we put that together in that way just to show the breadth of content that you're going to be able to play.
We call it a playground platform.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask a question because you guys developed this originally for VR. What did you learn from making a VR game that you didn't realize about, that you brought to this game?
So there's really two things, and one of them was kind of intentional, and the other one actually happened, and I didn't realize it until we even got here to the show. So the first one is, when we were making the game for Oculus, we couldn't rotate the camera because it would make you sick, right? So you always had to be looking straight ahead.
Sure.
And of course you could rotate your head around, but you're always pointed up north in the level, basically.
That's right.
And that meant we had to design the levels in such a way that worked, but we didn't want to go kind of more in the Crash Bandicoot route where it's kind of a linear platformer. We still wanted to have this open world. So we've now taken that forward in Super Lucky's Tale, and you see in the demo that we did here at the show, the level is not very linear. There's a lot of branching paths and secrets all over the place, and it's like you kind of go to the middle of the level and you get a quest and you go off to one part and you come back to the middle, you go to a different part.
It sounds silly to say this. The level design reminded me of Doom.
Yeah.
Because you have an arena that you're playing in, but it's like, go over there, get that thing, come back over here, but then you gotta go back over there, and then you keep, it's like, instead of keys, you have these stones.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's very correct. And one of the big things that we're seeing, especially now, showing it on the show floor, is our goal here is to, even if you never figure out how do I even rotate the camera, and we do give you some control there, but even if you don't ever figure it out, you can play and complete this game and never even miss it. And that's largely due to all the lessons we learned when we were creating the VR product.
Yeah, we're in this middle ground, right?
Yeah.
Because there's more linear platformers, and then there's full sandbox platformers where the camera's rotating all around.
Right.
And we wanted to try to get a game that was simple and didn't require you to touch the camera, but still had a feeling of an open world exploration.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that until you just mentioned it.
That's good. And you probably didn't even realize you had to touch the camera. But the second thing I wanted to mention real quick is, the other thing is, in VR, it was important to us that Lucky would notice you, right? So you remember in Lucky's Tale, he looks up at you and he waves.
Yeah.
Well, we just left that stuff in there and didn't even think about it. And so now when you see him on the Xbox, on the TV, he's actually waving out of the TV, but it actually works.
It's still the same immersion.
Works. Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing
that's awesome.
Nobody really makes these kinds of games these days. I mean, Nintendo does, because it's very on brand for them to be family friendly. It almost feels like publishers are afraid that there's not a market for this anymore. Did you have to do any convincing to get this to happen,
or is Microsoft just showering Playful with money?
Or is it something that you think can and should come back at all?
I think.
Sure, yeah.
I think that the world is really hungry for this.
Yeah.
And we had this hypothesis, both we did and Microsoft did. We knew that certainly families would love this game because it would be something that they could play on their Xbox together with their kids. We came into the show not necessarily sure, though, whether gamers were looking for this kind of thing. But man, we've seen that there was a NeoGAF forum, right? So I heard about this. I'm like, Dan tells me there's a NeoGAF thread about Super Lucky Tale. I'm like, gosh.
Look out.
But I go look and it's love, all this love. People are yes, this is what I'm looking for. I wish there were more games like this.
Yeah.
So I think we've proven that hypothesis that this is actually a game that's just going to sell Xboxes to gamers, not just to families.
And the opportunity is there, and as we've been running people through, it's a message that we're just hearing over and over and over again. Thank you for revisiting this game type that I love. Thank you for doing it in such an interesting way, and thank you for bringing it to the Xbox, because I've been looking for something to scratch that itch, and I've been looking for something to get lost in that I don't mind if my kid wants to play too.
It's really important for us
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
It's really important for us that we live up to that, because as gamers, it's not enough. Obviously we want it to be cute and super appealing, but also has to have a great degree of challenge and a great feel. The controls have to be tight. These things, as gamers, we demand.
It's content for everyone, and when we say it's a game for everyone, we don't mean just for kids. We actually do mean throughout this game there are moments that are pretty hard, pretty tricky. I've been stuck at some of the puzzles for 15 minutes, just how do I do it? And I love it because it's that blend that's going to pull in as many people as possible and expose them to this new world.
Yeah, I think going back to this idea of the market for a platformer with an adorable character, Xbox is known for Halo, gears, chainsaw guns. So I think it was really refreshing at the press conference to see Lucky there. And I think this was Microsoft's event where they're like, no, look at this wealth of content that is on this platform. Look how big this platform is, from Windows down to the original Xbox One. And I think that for you guys, I'm just excited because having played Lucky's Tale in VR, and it really being one of the best VR games that was third person. It's exciting to see you guys bring a new story to console with so much of what you learned.
And likewise, it's so exciting for us how much Microsoft actually believes in this. Mm-hmm. They're not doing this to just cater to a certain audience. They really believe in this kind of game on Xbox. That's why I think you saw Lucky's Tale. People were surprised to see that, right in the middle of Microsoft's press briefing, this marquee moment, and all of a sudden this cute fox shows up. And
it's not a cynical sort of support, and that's what's really energized us as a team, is we feel like our partners there are trying their absolute hardest to hold us to this high level of quality. Sometimes they're like, guys, it's not delightful enough. Add more delight. We're like, yeah, we can do this.
They genuinely have wished for this to exist on Xbox, I think, for years.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask you guys just about design philosophy.
Yeah.
What are your core tenets to making a fun platforming level? What does every level at Playful have to do for you guys to be like, yeah?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it starts even in the fundamental building blocks of that level, right? So where am I going? That's a big one. Do I have something really cool to look at, and do I know where I'm going? And then even more fundamentally, how does Lucky control? How do we allow the level to respond to this nature? When we say a playground platformer, right? It means a lot of things, but one of the things it does mean is there are levels where we want you to take your time and find all the secrets and play, and we need to encapsulate them in such a way where it's not just noise all the way to the horizon, right? There's likely places for you to investigate, but there's sometimes that we shape the level where we actually want you propulsively moving through it. And there are times when it's no, sit, you're in a single room, ponder this puzzle, figure it out. And all of those are just these fundamental building blocks of the game we're creating. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, our levels, we try to, a lot of times now we try to start with a 2-word name for a level that captures, and it's always something really ridiculous, I don't know, juicy jumping, or egg rolling chickens, or just something like that. And then, and we want players to come into the level and immediately understand, okay, this is going to be the level about eggs rolling all over the place somehow. Yeah. And so they have that, and then when you get into the level, you're constantly surprised by things you're seeing and the characters you're meeting. As I mentioned, that's something that I think we love from those early Rare games. Is it's not just platforming. There's a sense of adventure.
It's like a scenario
story.
And not just an environment, right? Yeah. And so for the demo, it's the tale of the great golem.
Because this is just an adorable character, I have to ask this. And it's something I've asked a couple of franchises. Overwatch launched a game without really even a story, but they've had a lot of success with cinematics.
Yes.
Are you guys interested in maybe doing
I was just having a meeting to talk about this right before we came to this interview.
It speaks to our hearts.
The thing is, even our secondary, what you call secondary characters, so in the demo there's a character called Master Mittens, and he's one of the...
Adorable.
He's the kid of the...
Ninja?
Yes, he's a cat that walks in
studies Mushu at the Miaolin Temple. So,
See, the thing is, I can't stop Dan from making puns. Every single thing in the game is a pun to him. It's awesome.
It's Steve's best friend.
That's right. So our studio is defined by the puns now, but anyhow... And even these secondary characters, we put a lot of thought and love into them, because I think that's, as gamers, the games and the franchises we fall in love with, we almost want the secondary characters to have their own games, if they're done that well.
Totally, yeah.
I mean, we've seen that with Luigi,
the
Mario universe. They've really done a great. They're the prototype for it. But
that's exactly right.
And we fell in love with these, especially the villains, the Jinx and his kids, the kitty litter. We love all of them, and they beg to just say I know you're going to encounter me in Worlds or whatever, but what else? And we can't wait to see them again and again and learn more and more.
Here's another silly question. Mm-hmm. We actually asked the Shovel Knight developers too, because we love their art style. It's a really fun game. Will you guys make a kart racer in this universe?
It's funny. Kart racing, even from the inception of our company, we were looking at just I always wanted to make a kart racer, just like it's that fun moment of just doing this, and this is even before Lucky's Tale. We're just like, this is just something we want to do.
Free idea.
But,
if you guys want to pitch to Microsoft, they don't have Mario Kart.
That's the thing is, I want gamers to tell Microsoft how much they want games like this, which they have been, on Twitter and Reddit and NeoGAF. The response from our gamers and our gamer friends and our customers has been enthusiastically, yes, Microsoft, make more stuff like this, and Playful will step up to that. So just show.
I think we could make a good one. I think we could do it.
We could do it. It'd be awesome.
Speaking as like our site's VR junkie and like the evangelist for VR at our company, I think everyone I know who has a VR, has an Oculus Rift, or even used Revive to play your game on Vive or whatever, they were so excited to see this game on Xbox One X. It's like we all won something. We're like, yeah, we know those guys.
Yes.
It's just cool to see you guys, from 3 years ago to now.
Thank you.
Could you imagine this journey when you guys set out on it?
Not even a little bit. And I mean, to be here and like kind of headlining Microsoft show with them, it's overwhelming.
And with the first game, you saw just, this was our foray. This was our first platformer, our first VR product ever. And we had so many things that we learned and struggled with on the way. And it feels great now with Super Lucky's Tale to take that, and that was our new base, that was our new bedrock. And to take that and now just be able to go even further and push it. Okay, this is how you make an even better platform.
Yeah, Dan and the team had so many hopes and dreams for what we had wanted to get in Lucky's Tale, but we ran out of time. And Super Lucky's Tale has been that place where they get to pour all that into this game.
Yep, awesome. And we're still out of time. There's more. There's more.
That's right.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm realizing I'm catching myself looking at the monitor just over and over again, even parts I've already seen, just because the colors are like so bright and vibrant and eye-catching, and that's not something that we see at all in modern games. So can you tell us a little bit about like the art direction and the art design?
Here's the hilarious thing. The art director on this game used to work at id Software and was the art director on the Doom games.
That's hilarious.
So we hired him a couple of years ago. and his name is Matthew Burke, and he's amazing. Hey, Matt.
Wow.
And he, when we hired him, he was almost in tears when we were talking about the kinds of games we wanted to make together. And he was like, I've just always wanted to make something that's so beautiful and colorful, and And
that's great.
He's like, let me make brown and Quake all day long.
Can I please have another color?
I don't want
just
browns
one
and
more
grays.
color.
How many shades of
we love you,
brown?
Quake, but still.
We're Quake. We started as a Quake fan.
Even
the
name is like very like a throwback. Like it's not Lucky's Tale 2. It's Super Lucky's Tale.
That's got me excited. Like we've debated internally a lot about what the name should be, but ultimately Super Lucky's Tale represents the type of game we're making. I feel like it's super in every way from where it was, and it is. It's like we want to channel nostalgia, but without being beholden to it, right?
Yeah, I think our job, or what we'd love to be able to do, is create something that both the sort of 30-year-old gamers that we are love it because it's, and I just turned 40, so I can't even say that anymore, but anyway, love it because it's the games we grew up with, and yet our job is also to get a new generation of gamers, 8, 9 years old, like my kids are, to fall in love with it,
right?
From scratch.
And just to go back to the challenge you mentioned, like parts of this are challenging. I think when people think of kids games or family-friendly games, they think like, oh, we need to dumb it down. It needs to be easy because kids, because so kids can do it. It's like, no, kids are like probably better than you are.
Way better.
Kids aren't stupid, and I enjoy when a game like doesn't underestimate the skill and intelligence of kids.
So I have one example right now, and it's just an interesting thing. There's this dial, and it's moving, and it's basically saying "hit me," right? And there's things we can do that.
So obviously saying "hit me."
It's basically like you're gonna hit me. It's gonna twirl like this. So, an interesting thing that comes out is almost every single kid. It's like, yep, you hit that. Whoop, okay, I'm done.
Instantly do it. Like,
a lot of adults are like,
like
what is that? And then
here?
jump
How
into
do
the
I get
clouds.
past
They're just
this?
done. They're like, what is that? And then like Third Life, they're like, oh, I need to do something. And it's a strange thing that we've seen, but I love it, and it kind of helps shape what we're working on any given time.
Those are our two audiences. We play test the game with 8-year-olds and with 40-year-olds or 30-year-olds.
So I have another stupid suggestion for you guys.
All ideas are good ideas.
I'm already planning sequels for you guys.
Good.
So instead of calling it Super Lucky's Tale 2, call it Ultra Lucky's Tale, and then call it Mega Lucky's Tale. Then you can do Super or Ultra Mega, then Super Mega.
Good idea.
I just made you 5 game titles.
The final challengers, right? Like you put a subcolon on there.
Yeah,
Sadly,
this'll be good.
we are out of time.
It's been great to talk to you guys.
Paul, Dan,
Yeah, thank
thank
you
you
so
guys
much.
so much for coming.
Thanks for having
Talk
us.
to us about
It's our
Super
pleasure.
Lucky's Tale. When does it
Thank
come
you.
out?
November 7th, $29.99.
The launch day of Xbox
That's right.
One X.
Yeah.
That's
it'll
right.
be there.
The day
So
that
it's
they get their
best
title.
On
console.
Xbox One X.
That's
Yeah.
right. But you can play it on Windows, you can play it on Xbox One S, the whole Windows family.
That's awesome. Congratulations, you guys.
Yeah,
Continued
thank you so
success.
much.
Thank you. Thanks
Awesome,
so
and
much,
stay
guys.
tuned. We have more awesome interviews coming up.